It's all hands on deck here at the Upper Peninsula International Raceways for the second time this year. Early morning race day rain put a doubt on whether or not there would be racing here at UPIR. Hi, I'm Todd Rose here with the Rose Racing Report. And like I said, we have a whole slew of race cars and track vehicles out on the track, putting in an effort to make sure we have a nice and raceable track here at green flag time in just a little bit. We'll have the highlights ahead for you on the Rose Racing Report from the Upper Peninsula International Raceway for Week 7. Number 1 on the agenda for the night were the Riverside Auto Group Youth Microsprints, led to the green by the Warm brothers Carl in the 9 and Caleb in the 19. When the green flag dropped, it was Carl Warm getting the jump, with Carson Artley in the 19A and Ethan Manninen in the 1 taking along, moving to the front of the pack. Carl Warm and Artley would pull away from the field, with Manninen giving chase in third. The only yellow flag in the race would fly for Tanner Hansen, whose car became a tricycle on the front stretch as it lost its left rear wheel. On the restart, Carl Warm, Carson Artley, and Ethan Manninen ran 1, 2, 3, and while Artley would push for the lead out of 2 and down the backstretch, Warm was able to pull away once again. On the charge and making his way to third by the white flag was number 52, Griffin Iverson, who had his eyes set on second place, Carson Artley. Iverson made the move down the backstretch, but the race was far from over as Artley tried the crossover out of 4, but it wasn't enough as Griffin held on for the spot. Carl Warm pulled into victory lane for his 4th victory of the year. Brennan Swanson in the number 20 and Trevor Denome in the 1 led the Sportsman Microsprint feature to the green flag, with Swanson grabbing the lead right away. At the tail end of the field was Brett Lobb minus a wing after flipping in his heat. The points leader was going to try to salvage everything he could in the night, but on lap 1, Brett would tag the wall. Things would not improve on the night for Brett. Meanwhile, Brennan Swanson led the way with 44 Gunnar Hansen and the 4 of Luke Lobb in tow, while Brett Lobb would call it a night with a right front flat tire. The race ran smoothly through the end, but the battle up front would rage into the last lap as Brennan Swanson made his way around the lap number 29 of Jeffrey Lash. He cut it as close as he could to make sure Gunnar Hansen would stay behind him. Swanson grabbed feature win number 2 of the year with Hansen second and Luke Lobb third. 93 Paul Hosking and 22 Brad Seppinen were the front row for the Getchell Builders 600 Microsprint feature race. Toward the back of the pack there were a few tense moments, but everyone kept it straight on lap 1. The action continued in the pack with Robert Buttrey 47 and Kevin Warm in 29 among those fighting for position. Hosking and Seppinen gladly separated themselves from the rest of the field as Robert Buttrey, the 101 of Tony Beauchamp, and the 14 of Kyle Mayville looked to go 3 wide into turn 1. Cooler heads prevailed and Buttrey grabbed the spot. The last lap of the race, to say the least, pulled apart at the seams. Jeremiah Roberts' car came to a stop in turn 4 as Brad Seppinen, Robert Buttrey, and Kevin Warm battled for second. Warm almost spun but held on to 4th. Then Logan Getzlaff lost a tire across the line. Back up front, though, Paul Hosking had already finished the race, taking his first feature win of the year. Matt Valaket took off to the lead in the Vintage Modified feature, while further back, Jesse Denome in the 0 and Scott Dagnan in the 75 were battling their way 3 wide through the pack. Dagnan and the 93 of Alan Yell scrapped for position, taking tires at one point. Dagnan, however, was able to power past on the outside in turn 3. Jesse Denome was still hard charging up ahead as he used the 92 of Dave Broders as a pick down the back stretch to take second from number 4 Dan Lambert. Overcoming packs of lap traffic and closing Jesse Denome, Matt Valaket took the win, with Denome in second and Scott Dagnan swiping third from Dan Lambert. Nick Leisner in the 23 picked up right where he left off last week, leading the A&L Iron and Metal Street Stock feature. Trouble would find the number 40 car of Ron Jenshak early this week as he slowed through turn 4. The right rear tire free to roam as the rear axle was broken. On the restart, Billy Bowden in the 16 and Paul Wagner in the 5 battled side by side for third, with the dual 57 Chevys of Landry and Cody Potter running door to door behind them. Turn 2 became an action spot as Bowden slid high. Behind him, Eric Mathieson in the 27 went for a 180, with everyone behind able to avoid him. Cody Potter and Billy Bowden would exchange some paint while battling for third after the restart, a battle that would go on the rest of the race. At one point, it even pulled in the number 64 of Tyler Corwin in a 3-car party down the front straightaway that was a little tense, to say the least. Nick Leisner would hold on up front for his 3rd win in the last 4 races. Paul Wagner would come home in second, while Billy Bowden would hold off Cody Potter for the third spot. Matt Mackey, 15, and Jeff Solomon, 69, tussled for the lead early in the Binks Coca-Cola Modified feature, with Mackey grabbing the spot on the outside. Following him in the outside lane was Lonnie Dalgord in the 60, who charged around both Matt Valaket in the 53 and Jamie Iverson in the 70 to find third. But he wasn't done yet as he took the battle to Solomon for second, then Mackey for the lead. On his third attempt, Dalgord finally made the move stick to take control of the race. Matt Valaket further back furiously tried to make his way through the field, first in a battle with Jeff Solomon. He tried the inside via the crossover multiple times to no avail. It seemed that Valaket might be stuck behind Solomon for the rest of the race. But when Solomon slipped in turn 3, Valaket jumped at the opportunity to take the third spot and set his sights on Matt Mackey in second. With Mackey, it was very much the same story, with the 15 holding the inside as Valaket used the chrome horn a few times to get the message across that he was faster. As the race came down to its final 2 laps, Valaket made the move to the outside line to get around Mackey. He was able to do so, but Mackey wasn't going to let Valaket take the spot without a receipt for the earlier contact, returning the favor in turn 4. Lonnie Dalgord took his number 60 to victory lane for the second week in a row, while Matt Valaket took second and Matt Mackey third. There are many words that could be used to describe the Island Resort and Casino Sport Compact feature, and they all boil down to the simple definition of wild. Evan Gagne in the 868 took the lead early and would hold it with all his might for most of the night. Behind him, it was no holds barred, with this accident being the only yellow in the feature race. Gagne took off again after the restart as Tony Everard in the 8, Elliott Reed in the 67, and Brian Bizoff 54 ran 3 wide door-to-door. Now keep an eye on number 4 of Matt Adams as he gains 5 positions in 1 lap as Elliott Reed stumbles down the back straightaway. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through went Adams as he made his way all the way to the 4th position. Eventually, the pack reeled in Evan Gagne and swallowed him up as Matt Adams took the lead through turns 1 and 2. Just a lap or so later, Gagne's car started spewing steam, apparently overheating. He would stay on track and hold on to finish in the 4th position. While Adams copped the win, Trevor Cronick edged Tony Everard for second. Post-race, Cronick was relegated to the end of the field for failing to go over the weight scales. This moved Tony Everard to second and TJ Everard to third, while Matt Adams was victorious. With 2 weeks crossed off of August, UPIR heads into the final stretch of racing with several big events having been announced. First, this Sunday brings the 2nd annual Bob Iverson Memorial Race, with racing starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then, September 11th and 12th brings a 2-day show with increased payouts to end the season. Practice will be held on the 11th with racing on the 12th. With 3 more weeks of racing, it's crunch time for the drivers, and the racing on track will reflect that. We'll see you at a track soon.